on my end, but
Right. Content live.
Button
Okay,
has
well,
been clicked.
hey, there we
we will
go.
start this over quickly. Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
We were under the assumption we were live, but apparently we weren't. So we're gonna have to go back and talk about all this stuff again. But you guys are doing well. We've been sitting here chatting for a bit. I was talking to Brian about Gen Con because he went and I was supposed to meet with him, but I had some emergency surgery and then we ended up getting corona. My first story was much better, but I'm being abbreviated this one. And we could not go. And so Brian thought that I may have abandoned him, but I did not. I was not there. So we really wanted to be there. But hello to everyone who was watching. Sorry for the
We are.
delay. We had a little bit of a technical glitch and stuff.
It's all right. We're here
So
now. It's only.
That's all that matters.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'm gonna, and I think since we've already kind of warmed up, we should be ready to go, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna throw it in some of my places so we can get some.
That's fine. That's
Toss
fine.
them links out.
Yeah, toss
If
them lanky lanks.
absolutely, Horace out to everybody. I'm willing to be ridiculed by the interwebs. It's fine. Put all
That's what
your
we're here
hateful
for,
comments down
right?
below.
Oh, this is. No, you're not ridiculed by the internet.
And no, not yet. Not yet. I'm sure somebody's gonna. I had some very weird comments on a video once, and I was like, what is this? It was very hateful. I was like, oh wow,
Was
okay.
that the one where you did about like what not to do in TikTok? I know like there was one time where I know that you did a video and it was like, hey, like I was doing this at TikTok and I didn't get any
Oh no,
views.
I
Like
didn't. I haven't. I don't do TikTok.
maybe it wasn't TikTok, it was YouTube or
Yeah.
something. You were like,
Yeah,
I
could have been. It could have been. You know what it was? It was one of them where I was talking about monetization of the
yes, that's the
channel,
one. And a guy freaked
there I
out.
got some. Yeah, I got some blowback from somebody, and then the other one was my take on the OGL, which, ooh, that was yeah.
People
I
were
got
pro that? What the fuck?
no, no, it was people disagree with my take because I said, look, I said everything's going to equalize out. And I said they've revised it. It looks like they're walking back their statements, and I just got
Oh yeah,
skewered.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair point. Fair
And
Yeah,
point.
but then the
I'm
movie
just
came
trying
out
to
and
I'm just
everybody
trying to make
forgot about it.
nice. But anyway, Brian, so you went to Gen Con, you were at the DCC booth. How was that?
I was very busy.
Yeah.
Lots of people. So like I don't really have much to report on because I literally boothed and I ran two games and that was it. Like
Damn.
I walked the floor once and it took me a half hour to get because we were on the one like close to the furthest wall and to go to the opposite wall it took me a half hour.
Well, weren't
Like,
you guys were stationed in Lucas Oil Stadium, right?
So there was a Lucas Oil Stadium is where we ran games and then the actual booth was in the vendor hall.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I saw both. It's a good thing because I probably would have gone to Lucas Oil Stadium and missed you completely anyway.
Yeah, possibly, but at least there they could have pointed you in the right direction.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, I was there was a guy I was looking for that I had interviewed and I chased him all around Gen Con and could not connect with him for whatever reason. And finally I did see him, but he was running a game and I didn't want to bug him, so I just kind of left him alone. But
Right.
well, Brian, do you have something new coming out?
Yeah, actually, currently right now, I think we're 21 days left into the new
oh,
backer kit campaign.
let's go.
Well, what's all
Yeah.
this about?
So it is two new books for Neon Lords. It is Deities and Demi Bros is
Ah,
one
yeah.
book. So it's like the wrestling gods, like bringing the pantheon of gods into the game, like all their powers they can grant their followers, and wrestling rules and tag team rules and wrestling like tables, ladders, and chairs as weapons and all that stuff. Like a big like wrestling rules book. And another book, Deadly Dudes and Toxic Creeps. It's a like an expanded monster manual for the game. So like the core book's got about 101 monsters in it. This is going to bring about like 150-ish more
Oh,
to the
fun.
game. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
So it's on backer kit right now.
yep. So doing backer kit for the crowdfunding instead of going the Kickstarter route.
Was there a choice there that you're making consciously? You just didn't want to deal with Kickstarter?
So I did a backer kit campaign for the minis last what it was probably April or March, April, and I really liked it. Like I like Kickstarter or backer kit, like because if you're gonna use backer kit for fulfillment anyway, you're paying both. So why not just cut the middleman out, do it all through backer kit? And like I know Eric will appreciate this too, that after I got funded, that like they sent me an email saying, all right, you're good to start your fulfillment site and like all your set up your pre-sell page and everything. So
Damn.
like I could do it all now
Like,
and just
yeah,
be ready.
right away.
Oh,
That's
right
so,
away.
That's so
Wonderful.
choice.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like
that's great.
with Kickstarter, you'd have to wait, and then if you wanna pay through the Kickstarter, you gotta wait to get paid by Kickstarter, pay backer kit, and then start the process. So you're already like 2 months behind at that point.
It's exactly
But-
what I
Right.
had to do this time.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's probably
Yeah,
the
it's-
last time we used them.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with backer kit or Kickstarter, but like backer kit is just streamlined.
Except,
Like
except for their inability to answer emails.
backer kit.
No,
I've never-
Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. Well, backer kit's phenomenal. Like anytime you want to like talk to them, they're right there. They review your page. They're like, hey, like you should do this, you should do that, you should add
Yep.
this. Like from day one, they're like so much more hands-on than Kickstarter for sure.
Yeah, no, what I found that to be the case as well. And I didn't have a problem with Kickstarter really at all until we had met a bunch of the guys from Kickstarter when we were at Gamma. And, I had asked them, I was like, hey, how come it seems like really only, mostly big projects get on projects we love or like, family friendly? Like, isn't this site supposed to be for everyone? And they're like, oh, yeah, but if we don't know about the projects, we can't really make a determination, blah, blah. I told them, I gave them all my specs from my first one. I was like, man, I thought we would have gotten at least a little bit of love from your site for considering how well we did. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it for this one, because we had the expansion coming up. They're like, just email us, before, give us some heads up. I sent like 4 weeks of goddamn emails out and I heard nothing back. And I was like, bro, just don't, come on. Like, at least just say no. You know what I mean? Like, I hate being that guy who's going to send out. Yeah, right? Like, you're like, oh, please, would you maybe love my project?
I mean, so then there you go. So like their inability to write you back.
Just to say no.
Well, lost them a customer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and the projects we love is stupid because like it's a popularity contest.
Literally,
and it's not fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
And really, it's a fugazi because I got projects we love because I emailed the right person on 2 supplements that I shouldn't have had it. Like honestly, I'll be honest with it. I didn't see like an uptick in backers because the project we love. It's just a feel good button.
Like, oh, they care more about you.
It's
I don't know. Do people actually go through and browse Kickstarter for projects to back?
It puts you not really. That's the other thing I learned. Like because we tried not to get off on a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding tangent in general. But if you're watching this, you might give a shit. We thought we could run almost no ads on our second campaign for the expansion and just get some, because we didn't run that many ads the first time. We were like, oh, it won't be that big of a deal. There should be at least some degree of internal traffic, and there was almost none. Like,
wow,
straight up none. It was actually crazy because every site kind of warps the metrics to show you what they want to show you. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, how this came from here. And our Kickstarter from the last time was like, oh, only like 20% came from external ads. All the rest of this was like internal. And it was like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Like,
yeah, because I get notified. Like if I kickstarted something by somebody, believe me, come on games. Like I kickstarted several of their games. By the way, never gonna do that again because they're terrible. But and sue me if you don't like the whatever. Anyway, I'm a little pissed off at them right now. But they would constantly they'd send me emails and say, hey, ComicCon's coming on with a new game you should take a look at. And so one of the guys I talked about in an interview was like, look, if you're going to kickstart small, that way you're not out a ton of money and you don't need to make a lot, because what you're doing is you're building a book of business. So people who support you get notified when you start up new projects.
ventures,
and I thought
new
that was
product,
kind of
new whatever.
brilliant.
Yep. That was the thing that I learned early on. They're like, don't look at Kickstarter essentially as a money-making opportunity. It should instead be kind of like your launch off point and networking to a degree, like you said, building that community, starting with a base that hopefully enjoys what you're creating. So as you continue to make new shit, you can be like, here you go, guys. If you like this, you can buy this.
Yeah, it's a marketing tool more, and in the pre-sale, it's like a pre-sale like platform / marketing platform nowadays.
Sure.
Right? Like,
well, and then you have the added downside of people that have been burned before are like really hesitant to go into, something again. If you lost $300, $400, $500 on pledges, like I don't blame anyone for not being willing to back a product when you have no fiscal like responsibility for it. You know what I mean?
No.
I actually feel that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to try and move us to
go nuts.
Because we could rail against
crowdfunding in general.
Crowdfunding in general, but it's been very successful for some folks, two people who I'm looking at right now.
Oh yeah.
So if you do it right and you do it with the right tools, it can definitely be helpful. But yes, there are obviously pitfalls. Now, from the Gen Con standpoint, they sold out. Like they were out of tickets. What stunk was I emailed them and I said, hey, my entire crew, because we were going to bring our friend Jamie with us. And I said, we have COVID. Can I get like a refund? Because they were like $175 or something like that. Tickets are so expensive now. And, but it's a 4-day. So like whatever. And they were like, no, we can't give you a refund. Now, because I had a press pass, they refunded mine. But the other two, I couldn't get anything back for. So I was kind of sad because I want to allow those tickets to be sold.
Take them off the market, and if someone wanted them, absolutely,
So I have badges of shame downstairs, which is ones that I never got a chance to.
No, man, you not going because you got Rona is not a badge of shame. That's like you being a decent human. It'd be way more of a dick move to show up there and get a fucking 300 other.
So one of my somebody I know, I'm not sure if were considered a friend, but they were like, I would have just gone. I was like, yeah, well, you're an asshole person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even the sense of not feeling good. Why would you want to be around so many people?
Yeah.
Like I obviously take out the morality of it all, but yeah.
Right. Well, that was the thing is like, so normally my symptoms, because I've had it twice before, where I had a runny nose and that was it. Now my husband Sean, it takes him down, and so this time he was out on Monday, he was miserable. And then I didn't actually start showing any symptoms until like Wednesday. And then I felt like hot warmed over shit. I mean, it was bad. And so this is the first time I've actually had symptoms from it, and it was not good. So either way, we didn't go and we didn't pass it around. And so, yes, we suffered, but can you imagine all those people who have gotten sick? Although every time I go to a con, you always see those messages back saying, I got something back from the con, and they always show like positive COVID tests.
Yep.
So it's like it's a shell game. So, now Aric, you went to ComicCon this year.
I was. We were in San Diego.
Beautiful San Diego. How was that? Now that is also always sold out.
Yeah. We only get in because we got invited to demo. From the wonderful people that run the demo department. Shout out to Laura and Eric. Those guys are literally the best people we've ever worked with when it comes to like the communication and they all started out like running demos in demo rooms, and they moved their way up to being heads of the department. So they know exactly what the small creators like me are going to need. And then like they do a Zoom session before you start. Just a million nice things that I've never had in any other area. But no, it was amazing. First off, I always love San Diego. Like it's like LA Junior, but better, like no traffic, better weather, fucking right on the water.
I have a friend of mine who moved there, and he loves it, which is surprising.
It's literally like I would so happily live there if I wasn't stuck in LA.
So outside of demo and games, did you get a chance to do anything at Comic-Con? Were you at Hall H or anything?
So we basically, when we're there, that's like Brian said, that's all we do. Luckily, there's 3 of my friends that went with us, and we have like a morning crew that covers some of the morning stuff, because you're pretty much required to do like 9 to 6 every day in the demo room. And then you can also do additional time at like the Marriott, the hotel that's attached to it. So we
Okay.
try to do as much exposure as we can without burning everyone
Right.
out. But then since our game is a drinking game and we need, the attention desperately, we will always go after the day's done. We'll go to like the bars and set up at a bar and like
Yeah.
play the game.
Yeah.
And because you're in a place where people like games and they've never seen the game, we have just tons of people that'll just come over and be like, "Oh, what's this? What are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was, it was really great. The thing that always blows me away about that is like the boost, the setup, the art that goes into making that thing, and then the cosplay also, because like I don't personally do that, but I can appreciate the shit out of people that are taking, that much time and effort to put in to just do I always like when I see something like, oh dude, fucking nice, or you see like some little call out weird shit, and you're just like, yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, when we did Gen Con last year, we were at a restaurant attached to one of the hotels. We never get a hotel spot. I mean, housing sucks for Gen Con. We all know it. And but we happened to be at one of the hotels having lunch, and there was a drag version of She-Hulk that had the best legs I've ever seen. And it was just gorgeous. Like, I mean, the costumes and everything are so good. And some of them are so weird and out there, but they're like for niche animes and things like that. It's just so much fun to watch.
There was this dude who was just absolutely shredded doing like a gender bent Toph from the last Avatar, just like with her but he's just like just a brick of a mouth. It was so funny.
I'm surprised
dude.
he didn't go as like the Boulder or something.
No, he easily could have, but it was way funnier with him being Toph, like the little hair thing and the eye. I was just like, oh my god, dude, you're killing it. You're absolutely
that's
killing
awesome. Gotta love it. I mean, the new Avatar stuff is pretty awesome. Actually, I'm liking the show.
Dude, surprisingly, so actually, I'll give a quick shout out to a couple live action shows that like I come from the old love of anime, and most live action is absolute fucking garbage. And like One Piece, honestly, was not that bad. Props where props are due. Like they did a good job. The Bleach live action was actually fairly decent as well. I was like, okay, guys. I see.
I was kind of sad they got rid of Cowboy Bebop. I was actually kind of enjoying that.
Mixed feelings, man. That is my absolute all-time favorite anime ever. And as much as they tried, they really missed the mark with everybody but Jet, in my opinion, as far as characters go. And if you can't waiting till the very end to introduce Edward was such a bad idea. Like that should have been mid-season at best. Try to like get a little. And also, they just made Spike just a miserable asshole. Like, he was at least a sarcastic, like, yeah, everything's fucked, but it's still funny. And then in the show, he's just like, everything's the worst ever. I'm pretty much Batman.
Yeah, so I'm a casual anime fan. I haven't really, outside of like Avatar and a couple other little things, I don't watch a lot of anime. My husband watches the most of it. So he was a big Cowboy Bebop fan, Full Metal Alchemist, all that stuff. So he's also watching, what's it called? Dungeon.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Let's go. Can't stand it.
What?
That one chick who freaks out all the time. I want to put my fist through a window.
Marcel. Oh god,
it drives you nuts. It's kind of like, so they have a show called Star Trek Prodigy, which is the animated show, and the lead character in that hit me so badly. Like the first 3 or 4 episodes, I stopped watching it because I couldn't stand him.
You're like,
and then I saw a guy. It wasn't a cosplay; it was more like an ad. But there was a guy in a suit, dressed up like him with a big head and everything. And I just wanted to go and clothesline the guy. It just, it's so bad. But our friend Jamie loves it. The cameos and all the other fun stuff he really enjoys. So, but anyway, what are you gonna do? Well, Brian, are you an anime fan at all?
Not really. So I've watched the classic 90s Ninja Scroll. I've seen Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
And Akira, and I think that's pretty much it.
Bro,
Ninja Scroll?
I am amazed you've never seen Fist of the North Star.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
No.
Okay.
I actually own a bunch of that stuff.
I was gonna
I keep forgetting that's
that's what got me into anime was I was like, oh my god, they can do these ultra gory, ultra violent, they can do camera angles that don't exist in real life.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, there's a shot in Akira where they literally go from the ground to a satellite. This is before CGI was prominent. I was like, dude, that oh my god, mind blown, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was crazy. A crazy achievement that was all hand drawn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You
ones
also
like Akira. I mean, Akira was one of those ones where I was introduced to that probably first when I was younger, and then but I'm gonna tell you, you want to talk about Japanese technobabble. I mean, that thing you had to wrap your head around that one.
dude, it's kind of like the forefront of cyberpunk in a way. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like at least on the cinema side of things. Like
Mm,
they set the ground rules for so many things that existed after that. When you see
yeah,
like all the things that came, you're like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, at Gen Con, there was a big deal. It was D&D's 50th anniversary. And it was released 2 years after I was born. And I have in front of me.
That
Oh,
math doesn't add up, Mike. How is it 50
I
and you're
know.
only 23?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, you're a
just
sweetheart.
just the
Your
spry
checks
young.
in your checks in the mail.
All right,
I did
appreciate
get
it.
the new player's handbook. I went
Okay.
and bought the digital and the physical bundle, which I'm glad they're doing now. It tends to be a little bit cheaper. I think this was like $60 as opposed to if you were buying them individually. They have all the core rule books that are available, the physical and the digital for like $179 or whatever. But I wanted to get my hands on that so I could take a look at it. And actually, what I did was I ordered it so that way I could get a preview of it ahead of time digitally, and I never really looked at it.
Mm.
But so money well spent, I suppose. But they have done some interesting stuff with D&D as far as what the 2024 edition is. And one of the things that I think is very interesting is some of the rules that they put in, I was already doing because games played badly. I didn't realize I was not doing it correctly. One of them being inspiration. They changed inspiration so you can use your inspiration point after you roll to make a second roll, and you have to take that one.
Yep.
I was always doing that. I didn't realize you had to declare you're going to use inspiration. And oh well, it works now for 2024.
We do the opposite. I don't like just having one, so I let my players add it to their scores because I like to hand that shit out like candy. You know, every time you do something cool, bam, inspiration, inspiration, inspiration.
Sure, sure. No, I mean, it's a very valuable tool. And I think it's interesting that there's, if somebody had mentioned, I forgot what channel I was watching, but it was like people are so defined to their digital character sheet. Like if it's on your digital character sheet, you can't do it, you know? And
Yep.
back in the days when we were doing physical character sheets, I had notes and I'd have like +1 inspiration for this and +1, but they only give you one inspiration dot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult for people to keep track of it if they're doing it
Yep.
digitally, So that was a very interesting point that the gentleman made. And I wish I remembered the channel. He's very good. And so that was one of the changes that was made. Also, it looks like I thought they were going to change races to species. They call them ancestries now, which I guess I should have known. I don't know.
Oh,
What I
whatever.
do what I do love about this book though is at the back of it is a reference to everything.
Okay.
So your conditions, various rules, movement speeds, all this other stuff, it's condensed down into rather than having to dig through a million different pages to find it, it's all at the back of the book, all very easy to get. And I really like that. But there's cool stuff like the weapon mastery stuff. You can do, cleave based off of what your weapon mastery is. You get feats immediately. Backgrounds are really what give you your stat increases. No, it's no longer an ancestry or species or race thing. So I mean, there's some interesting stuff there. I don't know yet. I haven't played with it, but I'm sticking with 2014 for now.
Yeah, for me, like we do a homebrew anyway, but I don't like that there's no like alignment punishments. Uh
You're old school.
you will I For me that's super, it's character development, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like having a
mm,
character, oh yeah, I was the goodest paladin that ever existed, then you're seeing all this tyranny in the land and you slowly over
yeah,
time get beaten down by it and all of a sudden, oh shit, maybe you're neutral now, like, and it's going to
yeah,
change things about your character. And then we were playing when we first started playing the new 5th edition. I was like, one of my players did something that I was like, yo, that's evil as shit, dude. Like, that's going to change your alignment. And we started looking and we're like, oh, there's no like
yeah,
system for that to happen. And there's no
yeah.
punishment if you go against like what your character should do. I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that was the thing is so back in the days when you had Cavaliers and this is first edition, but yeah, I mean there were severe penalties if you change alignments. I mean you would lose experience points and all sorts of different stuff, and yeah, alignments aren't really as big a deal. I don't know that I don't mind having to track that on top of everything else. I used to make
Oh, fair
little hash
point.
marks.
I'm,
Like 8 hash marks, your alignment changed,
oh
and I
wow.
try and keep track of that. But I don't know if that I miss it. I do agree with it being character development, but I think it could be done in a different way.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
But like, what?
I mean,
How?
Brian, I mean, are you?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on
Yeah, I love
alignment in
alignment.
general?
I'm so old school that it's lawful, chaotic, and neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. That's all we need. That's all you need.
That's
Chaos,
that's
taking
exactly
over the
what I was
world.
gonna. I literally do 3, and it's like, yeah, you're good, you're middle, or you're crazy. Like, go nuts,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah, and then yeah, tracking it I could see being kind of a pain, but also I could see it as like life altering events changes on alignment, right? So like I played Fable. Remember the old Xbox game
yeah,
Sure,
Fable?
like
love
So
Fable.
like yeah,
the
so
OG
I
RPG.
I got married in Fable, then I punched my wife in the face on accident, and I instantly grew horns, right? So like so I could see that being like in a D&D
Yeah.
game. Like you do something completely out of character that's so evil that it like shakes the foundations of your character. I don't see why not. But
Yeah.
like being like okay, so a paladin like cuts a guy's coin purse and steals some coins. Like yeah, it's probably like out of character, but is it going to change his alignment? Like
Right,
No,
right.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. Like if he's going
Yeah.
around stomping baby orphans in the face, you're like, all right,
yeah,
bro.
that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, wearing puppies for shoes. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah, I mean, again, I kind of made peace with it just because I build in like karmic penalties when people do
Oh,
stuff
okay,
that's
okay,
just
okay.
not where they're when they're off script and they do something completely because a lot of times people are being jack wagons and just trying to upset the apple cart, right? So they're
always.
like, okay, we've been going along just fine, no baby killing, no puppy stomping, nothing like that, and then all of a sudden just to be a jerk they want to do that and possibly get the entire group in trouble,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so I tend to try and build it more into the story where I can get a little bit of revenge for
Yep. Nice.
it.
Nice. No, I like that a lot.
But
Yeah, I'm similar. I just also want their character to have consequences. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
your character, yeah, that's fine. You can do anything. That's the whole point. But you're going to have repercussions for
Yeah.
those actions.
Plus, I'm a huge fan of like Angel Bane's sword, right? So it's like gives you like +2 to hit and damage versus lawful characters, like
Yeah.
the aligned weapons and stuff. I always thought
Yeah.
was really cool too. But
Right, and also there were the weapons that you couldn't use. If you
Yes.
were
yeah,
if you're
exactly.
lawful good, you couldn't use
Yep.
some weapons, or if you're chaotic. I mean, that did give you a way to kind of wrangle in some stuff and be like, okay, I'm gonna throw this out rather than everybody fighting over it. Only one person can really use it. So
Yeah,
there
you
you go.
chaotic? Nope, can't use it. Next
Yeah.
guy, right?
Sorry.
So boom, that's. But yeah, I mean, I do like that the old school three, not like the whole 9 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's when I first started playing we played first edition and that was just brutal because I actually and the DM that I was playing with was kind of brutal too. But we were trying to play it hardcore. So like, it was meant to be a struggle and it was meant to be tough. But I had a wizard that I rolled 1 hit point for. You didn't get max hit points, you rolled.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
was a D4 and I rolled 1 hit point. And I would repeatedly get knocked unconscious by the most mundane things. Like, somebody throws a rock at me. Up, I'm unconscious.
Acorn, a
Yeah,
stick,
stay in the
literally.
back. You got to
It
stay
was
in the
so
back.
bad. Yeah, absolutely. No, I literally couldn't do any. I just had to sit there.
No, so
I couldn't do anything, right? I have to hide behind people, which is what I should have been doing as a
get
wizard
a
anyway.
larger teammate, get a backpack, put yourself in that backpack. Come on, man, Master Blaster style. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I got stung by a bee once and went unconscious. It was so bad. It was, and also the DM was evil. Eli, if you're watching, you're evil. But
The plot
yes,
to
I
My
mean,
Girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say fucking Macaulay Culkin over here.
So 50 years of D&D, that's a big deal. It has honestly
Yeah.
seen huge popularity since the pandemic. People know the digital tools more than they know the physical tools anymore, which I don't mind. I mean,
Man, I do. I definitely do as a DM. Like,
uh,
it's not like I don't want people doing things digitally, but I mean, like, literally for me running a game, it is way more difficult to do it on like Roll20. Like, everything
yeah,
has to be prepped. There can't be any like
right,
improvisational anything. Oh, I gotta get
right,
this character now. I have to make a new stat block. All shit that I can do in real time
yeah,
on my own. I
yeah.
gotta import a file. I gotta find another thing. It's just like, for me, that takes away the spontaneity of the game and it makes it drag. And that's the
I
one
would.
thing I hate.
I never do VTTs when I run online. It's just theater of the mind or dry erase board.
That
Right. Well, that's what we have. We have a dry erase thing at the table, or I have a little mini monitor TV that I'll do to display maps, and we'll have physical. Like we just got done printing all the monsters I need for the adventure I'm running on Saturday.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and we just sat downstairs and quickly painted them and everything, so it's all ready. So, if Matt, if you're watching, we are prepared for Saturday. He's one of our players. But I agree with you. I like the physical aspect of things around the table. I don't mind the digital tools as far as me being able to look stuff up on D&D and Beyond, or people creating their character sheets. That's fine, but I do kind of miss like when everybody started playing. They had this current group had never really played before except for Sean. And I made them do physical character sheets just so that they would do it once, and then they put
Yeah,
it
yeah,
in
yeah.
D&D and Beyond, and that's the end of that. But I've had people sit there and play on their phones. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no, you cannot do that.
And that's
You have to at least have
I
a
don't want to be
laptop.
I don't want to be that guy, but it's like, we got so used to, like, it's kind of a disrespectful, like, our game moves fast enough where you're kind of being disrespectful if you're on your phone.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I know there's a lot of old heads that are the same way about that shit. Like, you're there to hang out. Like, put your fucking phone down. Look at Instagram later. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like even if you have your character sheet up, you're always gonna just drift over to
Yep, you're gonna
something
be.
else,
Yep, yep, yep.
like
And then
checking
it's like,
Facebook.
I don't like fucking trying to get people's attention. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, guys, come on. I love that it gives new players, especially, like, access to, oh, what does the spell do? Boom, here, I can easily see that.
Yeah.
But also,
But
we
we
made a simple system to where, hopefully most of the shit you can just look that up in like 2 seconds if you need to, and like once you learn it, you know.
but you also have to think about that the time in which it was being used, and the
Oh
reason
yeah.
why it is helpful is when you can't have a physical game.
Oh, that's
And there are
that's
a lot
why
of
we
people who don't
switched.
play physical games anymore. So
Yeah, no, when Rona hit, we were literally 2 weeks away from the end of our first like 5-year campaign. And I was like, well, guys, what do you want to do? And they're like, shit, I guess we finish online. And then,
yeah,
we finished, and it was like, it was so unsatisfactory for me to finish that many years of
yeah.
in real life shit with an online one. And I was like,
Oh, that sucks. That
yeah, I
sucks
was like,
hard.
honestly, guys, I need a break for a
Yeah,
while. We'll figure out if we want to go again later. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, that definitely jaded it a bit for me. It was way better than nothing. Let me be very straight up. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I very much appreciated having Roll20 versus doing nothing.
yeah. Well, I mean, Brian, from the standpoint of the digital tools, you don't like the VTT. So, I mean, do you typically always have a at table game, like a live
No,
game
on
going
we
on?
do a game every Wednesday on Discord over at our Discord. We run
Okay.
games. We run games all the time, but Discord, like naturally in it has a dry erase board on the screen. That's what we use. I just pop in and then I just draw on
Draw a
that.
little map, draw the
Okay.
Yeah, and
players.
you
Yeah, yeah,
can you
yeah.
can upload little tokens and stuff.
Uh-huh. I've
So
never
we
used that through Discord before. That's pretty interesting.
it's awesome. It's definitely
Yeah.
and
It's
it
come a
saves them
long
too.
way. Yeah.
So like I can jump on now and play on the board that we saved like weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's worth it. And like virtual tabletops, like yeah, like Aric was saying, like it's just too much prep. So it's like you gotta have the map all ready. You gotta like already know what you're gonna do, and it's pretty much
And you
like
pretty
you're
much have to railroad your group into using that. Otherwise, you don't have anything.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Because then it's like, well, what are you gonna do if they like go off the rails? Like you like set up the plot and they think of a way to do it that you didn't think of. And you have no way of
Yeah.
figuring it out. You're just
There's
Like,
like,
no
oh
map.
oh,
shit.
yeah. So that's
Right.
kind of like the big downfall of VTTs is like if you don't have it prepped, then it's kind of just like,
it really does force you to railroad a lot more than I enjoy doing personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to railroad.
You would be
No.
surprised, man. I've met so many DMs that are there to tell their story. They don't give a shit. You're just a fucking dressing piece. Yeah.
I think I have been guilty of that. And I do a lot of dialogue in mine, so I have a lot of NPCs kind of going back and forth to set a story, you know. So it's almost like a mini play the characters are participating in, but my little story piece has to be in there. Otherwise, I feel like I'm a big heartstring guy, so I like to tug at people's heartstrings to manipulate them. Persuade them to. We had a recent adventure where there was a pair of ogres in a dungeon in a room, and the characters were going to slay them, but they overheard a conversation about them talking about their impending pregnancy or the birth of their new child. And of course, it was very ogre-like and a little broken common, but they got it. And so what ended up happening was the pair of them were working for an evil warlord, and when they came out and were dealing with the evil warlord kicked her in the stomach. And so immediately the entire group jumps into action to protect her.
We're gonna get this guy.
Yeah, and so what they ended up being part of the pregnancy. The pregnancy was fine. There's a little baby ogre out there that's named after all of them. They have now befriended an ogre and his wife and their child, and gotten them a job. It's really interesting. So I mean, like stuff like that I use to kind of make people think.
I think it's definitely who you play with, though, because like my players will firebomb things first and ask questions later, and usually I'm the one that's like, "Oh, as you walk into the smoldering remains of the orphanage that was clearly labeled from the outside."
Well, that totally happened with this group. There were a couple ogres, and they had like 5 elves as hostages, and they were getting ready to kill them or whatever. And so they immediately fireball into there, find out that the elves are the people they're looking for. They're actually doppelgangers. And so they kill the ogres for nothing. And then also on them is a letter from an ogre who just had a baby and is telling his brother that he's an uncle. It was, I was like, oh, this writes itself. It was so perfect.
Good. That's so good. Gotta get those emotional hooks in,
Oh, yeah. They felt terrible.
Yeah, you are.
They felt terrible.
Forced empathy. That's how you make good characters.
Yeah. And now they won't kill anything. Now they want to talk to everything. So like every adventure's like 3 hours longer because they're too busy trying to talk their way out of stuff and talk people down.
We can't just kill everything.
Anyway, so I have this adventure that I'm running on Saturday for our group, and it is a wonderful nautical themed almost like a well, I don't want to say too much because anyway. But the interesting thing about this module was the way it was written. Gemini came up in the corner, which is Google's AI, and it said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I don't need AI for this. It's already written." So you go through it. But what I did use was I said, "Hey, scan through this, grab all the encounters and grab all the monsters and make a list referenced off where they're on in various areas, where areas on the maps it was." It did it. And it was wonderful. And I was like, this is great. And it pulled their stat blocks and everything. So I'm like, I have it all organized. I use AI in various ways. And one of them is to do stuff like that. I also use it to, like, for NPCs, I'll say, like, here, give me 10 backstories, of these types of NPCs. And it will go through and do that. I can go through and pick those apart and use pieces that I like, because maybe I'm uninspired or whatever.
You got to do a whole royal fucking ensemble. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't give a shit about these people. They're going to be there for 2 seconds.
Yeah, potentially. Or you know what? Sometimes it'll bring up something. I'm like, man, that's a really good idea. I'm gonna hook off that one. Like good player hooks or adventure hooks or things like that. There are some benefits to it. I don't have it write entire adventures for me or anything like that. But you were, Aric, just mentioning that Wizards is walking back their AI generated artwork.
Generative AI. Yeah, not just for artwork either. So full stop, they're trying to push for using generative AI in their art and in their modules and in their creation. So they're
Oh
basically
no.
they were originally saying that it was only going to be used in the way that you're talking about it and the way that myself and probably a lot of other people use it in early prototyping stages and like like you said, I don't want to scan a 400-page document to find out how many words are here. I can have AI do that for me. I have had pretty much zero luck having it come up with like, creative things like you were talking about. You know what I mean? It can do a lot of mundane background stuff, a lot of sloggery that it
Sure.
can get rid
Yeah.
of for sure. But we're seeing now is they're trying to cross that over into being like, hey, now we can use this in conjunction with everything else, which means, they can take half of a finished module, throw it into ChatGPT, and then try to run that out as some other thing. And then there's really,
Oh boy.
nothing we could,
Yeah, that's kind of disastrous. I've never seen something completely written by AI that hasn't been riddled with mistakes.
Yep. And I mean, they're
And is it gonna make their product cheaper?
when they're gonna have someone go back through. Oh yeah. No, like
so now Brian, you mentioned you've used AI in the past for prototyping and things like that as well, right?
I did not know. I was just saying I could see it.
Sorry, sorry.
It being
no,
used,
he can draw. He doesn't have like my drawings.
No, I can't draw, sadly. I just but like I was saying, what I was saying was I do like a lot of times I'll send over like old like art, like 2000 AD comic art or like Sega Genesis covers, and I could see like the potential for taking it and be like, okay, like this is what I want rather than just like old art. But then again, I am in the vibe of old aesthetic, so that stuff I do need.
He can't possibly he can't draw because he has to manicure that fabulous beard all the time.
I know, I wish. I got my comb somewhere, my beard.
I was thinking, I was telling Sean, I was thinking about chopping this thing off. I've been growing it out since 2020, but I can't, it's like part of my being now.
It's part of the look.
How do I do this?
Now that you're a internet celebrity, it's like your shtick. So like that's your logo. It's like the white glasses and the beard.
How can I wax poetic if I can't grab my beard like a kung fu master?
You gotta,
Yeah, like a Pai Mei.
Right.
No, but to your point real quick, that's literally like we were talking about that before. Previously, what we would have or what someone like me would do is I'd literally find kind of a piece of art that I would enjoy or be like, yeah, hey, we were looking for something like this. Now do it in your style, and you'd have to send that off to your artist. And now I can like kind of be a little more specific in how I want as a general rough draft for them to send up instead of just trying to make it more complicated or like I said, really wordy on my end. Because I don't want to make an artist do 8 iterations to get to where I'm at, and I don't want to waste his time or my time. Like, it's just, I found it to be an effective tool, at least at the beginning of that. If you're trying to figure out like a style for your game, you know what I mean? You can easily be like, all right, do I want this to be like a dark game? Do I want this to be light, funnier, Art Deco, things like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it from, because I was trying to do that. I was trying to get it to do some artwork for me for something that, again, I couldn't draw it out enough to have Sean look at it, because Sean does artwork and stuff like that. Like he's designed that logo for the channel and all sorts of different stuff, and he's pretty good at that. But I was like, I couldn't really describe it, so I was trying to like get something together, and it didn't really work for me. But I did not know that the generative AI was going to be how they were going to be possibly writing some of their modules. I thought it was just for the artwork, but that's bad enough.
It wasn't supposed to be for anything, full stop. They had said like 2 years ago there was going to be absolute no use out of it. And then, like 2 or 3 days ago, I saw a big thread on Reddit, like the CEO walked it back and he's like, we're no longer going to be not using any of it. We're using tool sets, but they won't specify what those tool sets are, which to me means you're going to use fucking everything. Of course. Why would you?
Yeah. Don't limit yourself to one.
If you have, and this is a thing where I understand the concept. I don't have a lot of resources myself. If I could just pay any artist to do multiple drawings, I totally would. You know what I mean? But like Wizards fucking can. They don't have any excuse, man. They have all of the.
They have in-house artists and writers. I mean,
exactly
some of the best in the business, actually.
And that's the one argument where, people are like, oh, AI, it's allowing certain people that wouldn't be able to do this to do this. It's like, yeah, at a base level, maybe fundamentally for entry level stuff, but this is not entry level stuff. They have been a powerhouse in this industry for fucking 50 years. Like, are you kidding me, guys? No excuse for that shit. Yeah, genuinely. Well, it's only going to hurt the workers, and then that's going to trickle down to hurt the
Right.
consumers because your product is going to suffer 100%. If you're
Right.
using that in like your mass equations and getting rid of the personalized input that is required for that level of creativity,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah, I
will
agree.
show through 100%.
Which
Yeah, that's
in turn, I mean, let them do it, right?
Oh yeah,
It
no, hey,
helps us in the long run.
I genuinely think it only will. Like you're
Yeah,
going to
it's
see a
just
large push away from this. Like people are already fucking super sick of it. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Everything has AI. Like, I don't want that shit on my phone and my computer and my fucking fridge
Yeah,
or my
and
microwave.
that
Like,
was I just upgraded my phone. It should be here in a few days. But you know, the Android phones are coming with Gemini, but it's going to be a per month fee
yeah,
to
of
be able to use
course,
it after the first. I mean, it's
bro.
all the subscription model crap, and it's somebody had alluded to it in one of the videos that I watched regarding the 2024 stuff was that is the direction that D&D is going is they get a subscription base. They already have it for their tool sets. Their VTT is going to charge, or you know, I mean, it's just
That's
it's
a
all
large
about that monthly subscription
that's a
model.
large reason why they push so many things to the digital forefront because they're kind of going to force you to be dragged along with them. You know what I mean? Like if you want when you had all this physical shit, what are you going to pay a subscription for? I own the book.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Like,
that was well. That's their big thing is they were always saying that like the DM buys everything, and then how do you monetize the player? Is
yes.
was
Yeah.
like their big like that was their big like scare. And it makes
I'm
sense.
surprised they haven't done away with library sharing. I know it's limited, but I mean, I basically share all my books with everybody in the
Yep.
campaigns that I'm running,
Yep.
so that way they don't have to buy anything. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if I see that feature go away as well.
it'll go away.
It
There's
will
no way.
100% go away. Yep.
Well, so
Or
like,
or it'll be like four of them on a low tier. You can give four players access, but if you want 8 player access, that's going to be a higher tier.
and the
Yeah,
worst
yeah,
part is they could do cool stuff with it, and they won't, right? So like player handouts.
Yeah,
Like, how
right.
cool would like awesome interactive like player
Look
handouts
at this
be?
little thing. Yeah.
Yeah, or like an actual puzzle that like holy shit that you could actually do, or like a riddle or something that like you solve it and it works, but like you know they're never gonna do anything like that. They're gonna take the low road, the easy road, and charge for it.
And they're gonna
yeah.
charge you $8 for token animations and shit. Like,
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not digging their VTT.
no,
It is.
so
I don't.
I've never
I'm
even
not.
used it. Like, I
Yeah,
used Roll20 for a while, and I was still like, eh.
well, I mean, as far as like VTTs go, I mean, they serve their purpose, but this is almost like a video game, and I feel like
Yeah,
people are so focused on moving their little piece around, they're losing. Again, Brian, it's something you said, theater of the mind, right? So we're losing that. What the reason people played D&D to begin with was because they had imagination and they had theater of the mind and it was epic. And a lot of the times when I think about adventures that I was on when I was a kid, it's almost like their core memory,
hmm
and I feel like by handing people a description or a visual for everything, you remove that entire process.
yeah. Well, that was like the big thing was like, yeah, you could play Nintendo, but like you were on rails. You know, Mario can go left or right, whatever, and jump, right? But like in D&D, you can do anything you want.
Hmm.
That was like the big cool thing about it. But then like it's like I mean it's a dying idea in like a digital world for sure. But
Well,
I
I
mean
mean,
it's not necessarily though. I was being a little too melancholy, over dramatic with it,
yeah, can we not
but
can we please not bury D&D on its 50th anniversary? But to that point, there are always alternative TTRPGs like Neon Lords. And there are some amazing creations out there. And I think if anything, what D&D has done is establish a genre that people can build games around. And they don't have to be using a D&D rule set. They don't even have to be a D20 based game, but it is again those games that use your imagination and tickle the fantasy in you. And that is a real power of what D&D brought to the table. And I'm glad for it. I'm saddened by the way things are going. I did buy the 2024 handbooks. I'm a total sellout, but I'm always curious about what they're doing. I mean, from my standpoint, what they've done with 2024 is they've made it a little bit easier to feel like your characters mean something, like it's cool
That's good.
early on, rather than having to like back in earlier editions, you're really on a hamster wheel trying to just get
Levels. Levels,
yeah,
Yeah,
levels,
trying
levels.
to just to survive.
Yep.
Yeah, and so they've made it a little bit more accessible from the standpoint of people are kind of cool at first level. Your weapons have feats. You can get your feats early, things like that. I think that's fun. I didn't like fourth edition because I felt like they tried to make it into World of Warcraft. I
Definitely
mean,
did.
magical items everywhere. It was crazy how powerful
Well,
characters were at like
yeah, I
first and
mean,
second level.
at the height of WoW and Diablo, right? So like, of course, fourth
Yeah.
edition was gonna kind of like steer that way. So
Try to
Yeah.
copy,
sadly,
try to emulate that vibe.
yeah.
Yeah, right. And it didn't well, I started a very good group in fourth edition because I hadn't played in like 15 years. So I was like, I'm gonna get the latest edition. Didn't know what I was looking at. I read through it, I was like, oh wow, I don't know if I'm not sure if I'm gonna dig this. And we played and I made it my own, like I modified rules so that way they're more in line with the way that I wanted to play. But there were definitely some things in there where I was like, oh wow, it was kind of dicey.
I got a fourth edition starter box. I should bust it out and check and see what it's like nowadays, right? Like with the
Yeah.
like how far removed
How
we are
far we've
now.
come.
How like what if we go back and it's like, wow, this is actually really cool, and we do like a fourth edition revival.
Oh
Well,
Lord, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
I have to
Well,
though because the Gamma World, the seventh edition Gamma World, I
oh,
think seventh
shit.
or eighth is for fourth edition D&D.
Wow.
man, I haven't played Gamma World in ages. So cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It really
Mhm.
was. That and it's interesting because BattleTech is making a huge comeback now.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
huge comeback. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's all sorts of new stuff coming out for it. I love
Why?
BattleTech. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where these things come from. It's
Okay.
just all of a sudden it's this revival of, what it was old is new again. But
Yeah, there hasn't
yeah,
been like a show. There hasn't been any, like, I haven't heard any
yeah,
news. That's crazy. Good for them.
yeah,
They
Fucking
were,
let's go.
yeah. I they gave me a free. I traded a dice for a box set from Catalyst at Origin, so I'm interested to dive into it, see what the new set's like. They needed a D16, and like obviously, if you know Goodman Games,
oh
like
sure.
I was like, well, I got a D16, so
Yeah.
I bought like a whole set of dice and gave my kids like the without a D16, and I was like, well, I'll trade you for something, and they're like,
Uh,
well, what? I don't know. I was like, I don't know, you know, go away, come back with something. And they
yeah.
came to
What's
like,
this
well, we got
D16 worth with to you,
exactly
big
because they
boy?
needed
Yeah.
it. They needed it
Right.
because they were doing a 16-man tournament. They needed the
Oh.
D16. They actually needed specifically D16. The only shop in town with one was definitely us. So
Goodman Games is I played DCC just a few times and it was a buddy of mine who was running it at our local bar and I was like, let's play it. And so we're playing 5 characters at a time. We're just kind of bum rushing. People are dropping left and right. And then he has these funky little dice. And so he had this little 3-sided, which Sean destroyed. It hit the ground and just shattered into a million pieces.
Oh
So now
oh no.
it's like a 50-sided now. But they had like they had the D24 and all this wacky stuff. So I actually went and bought a set of dice for DCC and we've never played again.
Oh
Hmm.
man.
And the problem is they get ended up in my dice bag. And so people who don't know, they'll
Yeah.
grab what they think is a 20 side and they'll roll and it's like a 22. They're like, what?
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
D24.
right.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I got a 24 out of a D20. Oh
Yeah, I
shit,
was like, how'd
wrong
that
dice.
happen?
That's an
Right,
ultra
right.
crit. That's an ultra crit. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and there are a lot of games out there that don't use a D20 system. A lot of 6-sided base games and things like that. And then I interviewed a guy who has a game out, James Kerr from Radio James Games. He has a game out called Betting Bullets or Betting Bullets. And so you don't use dice at all in there. You actually accumulate bullets that you trade in for certain things.
Okay.
So it's amazing to see what people create.
Is that like an action economy system or like a role replacement system?
It looks like, well, I don't know if it's actually action economy. I believe it is a bit. He has a very interesting take on you get you get bullets for doing mundane things like, rounding up steer or, maybe saving a stagecoach, but it doesn't always have to be heroic. And you
Okay.
can use them for other mundane things if you want to. But he really wanted to create a game that was all about the Old West and doesn't have magic. It's literally like a John Wayne movie,
Yeah, like
and
Stardew Valley in the Old West.
right. And it's brilliant. I've when I talked to him about it, I was like, it just seems like such a relief to go back to like ground zero and not have to, ground zero, I should mention that, but go back to square one and not have to worry about magic and all the crazy stuff. You're just kind of going, I mean, it sounds boring, but I think mentally it might be very relaxing.
It's a buddy of mine did a similar thing. We play tested it for him a couple times. And it was honestly a lot of fun to have a system there where there wasn't no magic, but there was hardly any magic. And there aren't many systems that I played where that's an element. So
Mhm.
when it's done well, I think it's a really interesting like narrative choice to make.
Mhm. Yeah, there's some really good. There's another cyberpunk. Their cyberpunk came out. I forgot the name of it now, but I talked to somebody about that. And theirs was there's no experience points.
Okay.
Money is your not only your currency but your experience because it buys you the things that you need to be able to do certain things. And also that setting was not post-apocalyptic. It was the game the game was actually kind of you were hurtling toward that future, but you weren't there yet.
Okay.
And so it's very, very interesting take. I mean, guys like you are very creative and you have games, and everybody who I interview is always very interesting because there's a different take. But
Mhm.
for a lot of us, without there being a TSR and a Gary Gygax, I don't know that this genre would exist. So,
Thought about
um,
that the other day. I think you're right? Like
Yeah.
we all pretty much stem from D&D of some sort.
mhm.
I
We are
know
standing
some
on its shoulders.
yeah, I know there's Metamorphosis Alpha was like around the same time that wasn't D&D. There's like what Empire of the Petal Throne.
Mm,
It's like supposedly the first, but that's a whole nother story. But
yeah.
like, yeah, there's like room to be like, oh well, yeah, but nothing was as popular as D&D, right? There's a
No.
freaking
No.
80s cartoon. Like once an 80s cartoon's made about you, you've made it, right? You're
What
in
once
the
you once you start a
yeah,
nationwide panic, with
exactly. Yeah,
with
yeah,
Christian
yeah.
moms, you made it.
Yeah, there
Well,
was no
apparently in this book, there is a representation of the 80s cartoon characters as adults.
Let's go.
And like a full page thing.
That's
There
fucking
is
cool,
there's
man.
no uni. And somebody I was watching today was thinking that maybe uni died, but I don't know.
well, I
I
know like Warduke and Venger are on the cover of the DM's guide.
Are
Okay.
they? That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
With
because
Split them up a
with
little bit.
another yeah, like Venger's like in the back, Warduke's like in the front, and then there's like a witch lady that was in some episodes. I didn't know
uh,
like I'd have to go back and rewatch them all, and I'm not gonna do that.
I've often thought about buying the DVDs or whatever
Oh, I
so that
have
way I could
them.
watch them.
That's even the worst
Yeah.
part.
Oh yeah.
I could just pump them, but I mean it was okay, but
It was
With less,
definitely a Saturday morning cartoon for me
I
for
was gonna
sure.
say some things are better left unwashed later in life. You know what I mean? Like let
yeah.
that be its own pedestal memory,
Yeah,
untainted by
right.
how it actually was.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah, some of
agree.
those cartoons I go back and watch them now, and it's just like, oh my
Yeah,
god, this
Yeah,
man.
is so
that's
bad.
right. I
So
can't watch
bad.
Akira ever again.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't. There are several cartoons and movies. Well, most cartoons actually back then. Like I'm not sure if you remember there's a cartoon called Dingbat. It
Dingbat,
was
no.
the all about Dingbat and friends or whatever, but it was the dog with the dog house on his head and he'd pull it off and scare the shit out of everybody.
Nah, I've never heard of
That type of
this.
stuff. Yeah, I'm dating myself. I've got you
No,
guys by about
those 20,
10
it's only
years.
20, it's only 20 year. Yeah, it's only 23. It's 23-year-old cartoon. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Dingbat.
Yeah,
He's a
Dingbat. Yeah.
Heathcliff character.
Yeah, I think it was a Cliff and Friends or
Vampire
whatever.
bat dog
Yeah,
What
yeah,
the
there's all
fuck?
sorts of stuff. Yeah, it was kind of
is
crazy.
wild.
It was kind
Vampire
of yeah,
bat.
yeah, right. Um,
What is
yeah,
going
I
on?
mean, there are all sorts of amazing things that are out there that probably are best viewed once when they came out, and they're not very good now.
Yeah.
If anyone is watching right now,
There is.
and you have a comment on something that does not need to be rewatched, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. Obviously, if you're watching, we want you to like and subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna do this again. We'll keep doing it as long as these guys keep showing up.
Hey.
We'll have a guest or two, I would imagine, come on too.
Ooh,
I'm already
interesting.
talking.
Yeah, let's
Having talking to a couple folks right now to see if I can slide them in. You know, one of them might be Tina Fey. I don't know.
go.
Tina, if you're watching, which you're not.
How do you
call
know?
me.
She might be one of the few people watching.
Yeah, right.
She could
The
be.
devoted.
She could
What
be
if
on.
Secret fan.
Yeah, what if she's like a devout tabletop role playing game and board game?
I wouldn't be
aficionado?
surprised.
Huge
I
fan
would
of your
not be
writing, Tina.
surprised.
Huge fan of your writing.
Yeah. Well, you know, then you have like the all the famous folks who are playing D&D together, you know, and it's like that's cool. I mean, I don't know if they play very well, but
Yeah,
I mean,
so that'd be interesting to find out.
do
Yeah.
it's because it's always geared more towards entertainment than actual like story. You know what I mean? Like the game rules and stuff. It's like, oh, if you're gonna stream all this, you need it to be cool
Yeah.
primarily.
Well, no,
Especially if it's a bunch of celebs.
This brings up a good topic. We're getting close to time here, but that also didn't Critical Role create their own TTRPG?
They've made
Yes.
a couple of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And official modules as well from multiple members that got put out by Wizards.
Very interesting. I'm kind of curious about all that. I love Critical Role, the cartoon. I'm not a big fan of watching people play D&D.
Yep, I don't watch
You
any full series play. Nope.
Although PAX, I will say, watching those, it's the on stage stuff with Perkins and everything. Those are very entertaining. But it's like
Yeah,
one
what's it called?
Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah, that's fine. And
That's
I
like
like the Cyberpunk when Mike Pondsmith runs it. I like watching that.
Yeah.
And like obviously
I just
when
don't want to
people-
watch a series of them, like a one-off.
No.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to devote 3 or 4 hours to watching people
The
play D&D
one
that I
of
can play
them
myself.
was actually good was Harmon Quest.
Oh, dude, but that wasn't like that was different. That was
Yeah, but that's what I'm
different,
saying.
man.
It was like
That was
all
amazing.
animated.
Yeah, that was all
super
animated. It
funny.
was more like a goofy, fun show. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
it was
guys,
Yep.
I don't know. We could talk about this all night. We've been going for about an hour. I am going to go to the bar and have a celebratory cocktail.
You do
Very
that.
nice.
I will be thinking of you guys.
Appreciate it.
I'll have a shot for you.
Sounds
But
good.
just to keep this brief. Thank you so much for joining me again. For anyone who is watching right now, thanks for hanging out. And if you like what we're doing, come back, take a look at the content down below. There's tons of it. I have these 2 goofs in videos, so you can watch those. And we'll do this again.
Indeed.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
All
Have a
right,
good night.
guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.